Remember when they themselves just recently said,
fewer illegal immigrants, higher GDP, more jobs, reduced deficit. Who could oppose that? I don't know of anybody.
Mexico must do its
Really?
share, because the day when America could be the welfare system for Mexico is gone. We simply can't afford it.
So that is our direct message to the families in Central America. Do not send your children to the borders. If they do make it, they'll get sent back.
Mexican government's policies are pushing migration north across our border.
I know that 1,000 overwhelms the system. I cannot begin to imagine what 4,000 a day looks like. So
can you imagine what 218,000 looks like this year so far? More than 2 times that last year. And if you started adding up the years and years and years and years this has been going on, and how many illegal aliens are in the Americas.
we are truly in a crisis.
That's why I don't really object to the wall anymore. If you want to build a wall, like I said, build the wall.
Finally! And here's some of the steel slats that the president's been talking about right here. As you can see, yes, you can see through these slats to the other side of the U.S.-Mexico border. But as we're walking along here, we're not seeing any kind of imminent danger. There are no migrants trying to rush toward this fence here in the...
This is Idiot Acosta. It's not gonna. I'm not gonna show the full thing here. This he just exactly describes where is a great crossing point at. It pretty much looked like he was literally trying to go, okay, right in here, just farther down, just 20 more yards farther down. As he keeps yapping, he ends up showing that that trail that's on the other side comes right through, and this wall ends, and there's where it is, where you get to walk right through. And he's fixing to tell you right where it was.
The McAllen, Texas area.
On immigration, I'm even more hopeful. We have bipartisan teams in the House and in the Senate who are working on approaches that secure our border, protect our workers.
We let cross the border millions who take jobs away from American workers. I want to make it extremely clear that first and foremost, we are committed to ending the waves of illegal immigration that we've seen in the last 30 years. Crossing the border without permission from the government is a crime. When we catch someone crossing the border, prosecute them and deport them, we are solving the crime and punishing the criminal. One of the most effective things we do on the border is turn people back.
Seems like the lefty little weirdos, and trying to do anything they can do to hate Trump, has decided to totally disengage with the thought process that they had just recently. And he said 30 years it's been going on. It's been a lot more than 30 years. It's just been an extreme problem for 30 years. And people have sat around and stared at it. And they said it was going to cause more problems, and it eventually has. And so we decided we're going to do something, but they're trying to be so slow about it. So it's like, well, come on, let's get a few million over here again real quick before they shut the door. And it seems to be their attitude that's causing it, and they were the ones that were saying this just recently. As recent as the last administration themselves. Let's continue.
You don't catch them after they cross the border. They get up to the border and we find them and say, go home.
Go home.
Well, look, I voted numerous times when I was a senator to spend money to build a barrier to try to prevent illegal immigrants from coming in.
Right.
And I do think you have to control your borders.
I'm deeply opposed to illegal immigration, and I call on the federal government, the president, and the immigration services to stop the inflow of illegal immigrants into this country. And
This is an old picture. This is not new. This is an old picture. This is Rio Grande, and this is people coming across, but people can swim just as easy. And there are places that are easier than this. And they talk in just a minute about how just recently they decided to start putting a few agents there, and nowhere near the number needed still.
Supported wise state policies to try to make sure that we do not provide services to folks in this state who are not here legally.
I voted for 700-mile fence. But let me tell you, the way I believe the fence is needed is not related to immigration as much as drugs. I'm the guy that wrote the National Crime Bill. I'm the guy that wrote the National Drug Act. I'm the guy that wrote the law that set up a drug czar. People are
Yeah, he just says that he's the one that wrote up those laws that helped to make a drug czar. Because of having this lackey border like this, it made him set it up against ourselves. Joe Biden defends need for border fence. People are driving across that border with tons of drugs, and of course, it's all about a war on drugs. We could talk about that and the implications of that situation too, but it's not. It's people are a living people are coming across here, but it's people that are not allowed legally to come across from here, and somehow some people have taken just recently into the idea that they should all be let loose, and if they got here before, oh sneaky, before we decided, oh yeah, now we'll stop, that those are going to be allowed to stay. I don't know what the thought process is that goes along with that, but there's not much health involved in it, or rationality.
driving across that border with tons of everything from byproducts for methamphetamine to cocaine to heroin. It's all coming up through corrupt Mexico.
There isn't any sensible approach except to do what we need to do simultaneously. Secure our borders with technology, personnel, physical barriers.
Any immigration solution must recognize that we must do as much as we can to gain control of our borders as soon as possible. But we also need to set the record straight. The American people need to know that because of our efforts in Congress, our border is far more secure today than it was when we began debating comprehensive reform in 2005.
I can't tell. This was before what's recently happened, him talking about this. This was a long time ago when we were supposed to have been doing something. And you can see they're just swarthing across the border. And by them showing you, throwing the rocks and everything, these are these people we don't want in America. We're not the savior of everyone, and we're never intended to be, and we sure as hell don't want to allow them in.
Between 2005 and 2009, a vast amount of progress has been made on our borders and ports of entry. The progress includes 9,000 new Border Patrol field agents in the last 4 years, construction of a 630-mile border fence, or 630 miles of border fence, that create a significant barrier to illegal immigration on our southern land border. And third, the implementation of new border technologies which serve as force multipliers and allow the Border Patrol to maintain control of larger segments of the border.
Look, they're just running across,
agents.
Even with agents.
Today here in Washington, folks are still debating whether or not to fix our immigration system, even though just about everyone agrees that it is broken.
Isn't that strange? This was during the last administration, and they're all talking about how everyone's sitting around staring at a problem, and that the problem was we were sitting around staring at a problem. Here is Senator Barack Obama before he became the president that he did and didn't do anything about it.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants.
So, very familiar sounding, and things like this got him elected, but then he didn't do anything with it. He doubled our debt and did a lot of other things, and I don't know why anybody is going to look back at him as being a good president. Let's continue.
1,200 National Guard troops to boost security along the U.S.-Mexican border.
And now moving on, the White House said today that for the first time, this president is going to deploy National Guard troops to patrol the border with Mexico. 1,200 of them.
The announcement came as a surprise. The president said nothing to Republican senators who pressed him on the issue today, but hours later called up the troops.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. Until the American people are convinced that we will stop future flows of illegal immigration, we will make no progress on dealing with the millions of illegal immigrants who are here now and on rationalizing our system of legal immigration. It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose.
That's funny, because that's exactly what we're doing now. An incredible flip-flop. And also, it looked like the Dems were pushing this idea recently, and the Republicans halted it. And now when the Republicans are going to try to get behind something that the Dems were going to do, the Dems totally balk on it just because it's anything that Trump decides to do. It's things like that hamper anything being done in America and probably around the world.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace, as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
Amazingly, this was a Clinton talking point, and everyone agreed on it and also got him elected, but yet whenever he got into power, wasn't able to do anything. There's something hampering this situation. I think we're all starting to realize what it was, and I think that needs to be defeated too, the concept in itself. Look at the reaction.